Hey there everyone, SpooferJahk back after hiding for a millennium for a video for Vadim M. Did you know that Grand Theft Auto Vice City is booby-trapped with hidden anti-piracy measures? Yeah, that's right. Vice City has two layers of protection, copy protection and crack protection. As you may know, the copy protection is achieved by using a third-party solution, aka implementing Sony's famous Secure-ROM, which this version requires us to have the game disc in the tray in order to play the game. To prevent crackers from removing copy protection and making their pesky no-CD cracks, the developers sometimes implement an additional layer of protection, aka crack protection. It is hidden deep in the game code, and its main goal is to be sure that the copy protection is still present in it. If it sees that the copy protection is either modified or removed, then it activates some nasty game-breaking changes, and the keyword for Vice City is eventually. In other words, you'll experience things which normally would not occur in the normal version of the game unless a cracker found a way to disable or remove these sneaky anti-piracy measures. What if the cracker didn't notice them? Well, you get something like the third Spyro game on PlayStation, with missing eggs and broken game sequences. You can't even finish the game. A great example of when Rockstar games use crack protection is Grand Theft Auto 4. From the very beginning, the game plays okay, but after 2 minutes, it starts to break and annoy you. The camera starts to shake and you can't even play the game for too long. Thanks to this additional layer of protection, Rockstar Games bought themselves at least 2 more days before it was fully cracked. If you want a video about it in Grand Theft Auto 4, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. But anyways, I guess it is safe to say that the crack protection in Vice City failed miserably. Why? Did you know that the game was cracked 3 days before the worldwide release by Fairlight and Gimps R Us? Well, we are still using these no CD cracks even today. By the way, we have a strange feeling that Gimps R Us used Fairlight's work. Pause the video to read more about it. But before we move on, I want to give a huge thanks to Firehead for finding these anti-piracy measures in the game code. He also managed to improperly crack the game, triggering these nasty booby traps left by Rockstar Games. What's more important, he was kind enough to document all these sneaky measures so I could show them to you. So, when you launch an improperly cracked version of the game, you would say that everything seems to be normal and there is nothing to worry about. You would be very wrong here, as the hidden anti-piracy measures are already activated in your game. Every single time when the game processes the mission cleanup opcode, which is always used at the end of every single scripted mission, there is a 25% chance that the game will activate permanent rain. When you pass or fail a mission, bad luck, Sonny Jim. Vice City will experience heavy rain for the rest of your playthrough. Make sure to have a raincoat ready. Fun fact, the fastest way to trigger it is to sit, for instance, in a taxi and bash the side mission button. Eventually the permanent rain will wreak its terror in this tropical paradise. This is a strange anti-piracy measure, but this changes the tone of the game's world. It kinda makes Vice City more drab and depressing, like Liberty City. Every single mission plays during these rainy days and you might feel a little bit depressed to see nothing but rain. The city lacks that amazing beach life now, no chances for getting a suntan, and no fun volleyball matches. Well kids, think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Well, thanks to that opcode, there is even a chance that you will start the game with permanent heavy rain. Enjoy your stay in Vice City. By the way, the game also saves the permanent rain in the save file. As you can see, it stays with you for good. But on the other hand, some missions can force the game to change the weather, so you should be safe from it for a while. Of course, you can change the weather with a cheat code, but I doubt that people would know the combination in the initial days after release. The next nasty booby trap is hidden in the save loading mechanism. If you load a save game where you played less than 40 minutes, then you'll get a ghost town because the loading mechanism removed all paths from the map. Yep, Vice City becomes a ghost town with no soul in sight, adding more to the drabness of the other anti-piracy trick. But at least you can find some parked cars around. No one will be around to judge you if you were to steal one. Interestingly enough, you can still spot these route buses. I guess the developers forgot to disable them as well, but honestly it looks creepy as these buses unleash these ped clones over and over again. The biggest question I'm sure all of you are asking is, could you actually play the game with this in effect? Yes you can. Everything that is spawned by the mission does appear around the city, but it would be a challenge to find a new car if you crashed your old one. Furthermore, the vendors also do spawn around the city because they are controlled by the script. On the other hand, side missions such as rampages, paramedic, taxi, and vigilante are broken as there are no peds around the city to do these missions right. Furthermore, if you visit, for instance, a mall, you will see that the peds are hiding here from that rain outside. With the conditions, you can complete a rampage if you go to these places, surprisingly. Oh, and yeah, if you trigger police attention in the police HQ, then you'll be able to at least have some fun in this town as they start to spawn and take you down. By the way, as soon as you save your game again with these measures activated, then you'll permanently ruin your save game. In other words, starting from this moment, these path changes are permanently saved in your save, and you'll have a permanent ghost town even if you continue to play on this save in a normal game. So, if you load a save game where you played less than 40 minutes, you'll get a ghost town. But, if you load a save where you played more than 40 minutes, then you'll be very disappointed to see that your game crashes. You played this free version for too long, Sonny Jim. Pay up or no progression for you. Do you know how they made it work? Well, the game counts frames throughout the game and stores their number in the save file. If the game sees that the save files have counted more than 72,000 frames, then the game will crash. Since the game plays in 30 frames per second, it'll be about 40 minutes. It means that you can continue to play on the save game on a normal game and enjoy the game, unless you didn't save your game with a ghost town or with a permanent rain like I talked about. The developers also decided to hide a booby trap in the sniper rifles, which transform these useful weapons into toys. I mean, you can clearly hear a sound from shooting them, but the game will just make you shoot blanks. Heads around don't even care about it. If Tommy was never miserable before, he will be now after playing with an airsoft toy, which can change the size of the moon at the very least. Thanks to this measure, you won't be able to complete rampages involving sniper rifles. Honestly though, this isn't a real problem when compared to the next one. Well, the garages got screwed. There is a check which counts to 35 minutes, and when it reaches this number, the game disables all garages in the whole game. The player won't even be able to use these places in their current playthrough anymore. Pay and spray will remain open, refusing to recolor your trash heap of a vehicle. Your safe house won't even let you get or store your sweet rides. In other words, you can forget about these places. Interestingly enough, I managed to find an interesting glitch involving this measure. If you use a pay and spray while the game disables these places, you'll be stuck in it, and the only way to get out of there is to use the I can't take it anymore cheat, which perfectly describes the situation Tommy is dealing with here. As soon as you try to respray your junky scrap heap in another place, the camera will fly away, and yet again, you won't have a choice but to use that cheat code again. I imagine Rockstar didn't even predict that this thing could happen. If you are still trying to enjoy this broken game and you still don't want to buy it, hold on your butts, be prepared to be fooled again, because the developers left a sneaky booby trap in the police roadblock. As soon as you get a 3-star wanted level, the game will start to spawn roadblocks. As soon as the first roadblock appears around the map, you'll notice that every single icon on your radar disappears. Heck, your location with the arrow is gone too. Of course, sometimes roadblocks are spawned off screen, so you'll never know why this thing has happened to you. You might think to check the map to see what is ahead. Welp, it is just as empty as Rockstar's plans for Grand Theft Auto 5 single-player content. Don't look at that legend, because that is a blank as well. Rockstar knows how to annoy beyond ridiculous missions in their games, it seems. Starting from this moment, the game will be harder than it should be. A new player would never know where to go, lurking around the map in the vain hope to find at least a marker. Of course, you can still play missions, but it would be frustrating. With very little in the way of directions, you won't be able to get very far. What about looking at your stats and progression? That will not be happening anytime soon, as the menu will be blank for all the pirates. Fun fact, you can still use an S button to save and view your stats in a browser or in a text editor. Heck, this is the first time I used this option. Thanks, Rockstar. Well, time to talk about the ultimate trap, the big one, the one that trumps them all. There is a 12.5% chance that the fire truck, which is spawned by the game to extinguish fires on the streets, will disable all in-game pickups around the map. So as you can see, the save pickup is still working in my game, so let's throw some garbage and trigger these firefighters. Okay, they arrived, so let's check that save pickup. As you can see, it doesn't work anymore, and I actually wasted about 30 minutes to achieve this. It means that starting from this point, you won't be able to save your game, but do you really want to do it? Lower your wanted level with a bribe, collect hidden packages, buy properties, play rampages, get various weapons, armor, and do a few more things. On the other hand, you are still able to pick up money. Yeah, because you will need it if you cannot get weapon pickups. Sometimes the money will start to glow in a blue color, and very rarely you will see that you picked up the police bribe. But the question remains, can you still play the missions with these crazy measures? Actually, yes. Everything which is spawned by the mission can be consumed, so there is no problem to continue playing the game if you are still doing it. Yes, it will still be a challenge, but come on now, is it much of a surprise it will be challenging? But anyways, you need to be lucky to trigger these measures, because 12.5% is still a small chance. So, the main question remains, can you complete the game with these anti-piracy measures? Technically yes, but I will say no for some special reasons. The problem is you won't be able to complete the Copland and Sir Yes Sir missions, because by that time the garages probably won't be working anymore. Of course there are more ways for you to be stuck in the game, but for the most part it depends on your luck with the triggers. Of course it sucks when you can't save your game, but you can always leave your PC in sleep mode and pray to Lord Xenu that it will not crash while doing so. But playing with heavy rain, having no radar, no garages, and maybe having no pickups or even experiencing a ghost town will make Vice City a miserable experience, and not the fantastic experience it should be. As you can see, Rockstar Games tried their best to hide these booby traps in the code, so a cracker would waste some time figuring out what causes the game to break, if only he or she managed to notice it. If not, the player would blame crackers for a bad release and run in stores to buy the licensed product. But in reality, the game was cracked 3 days before the official PC release by crackers outsmarting Rockstar Games. Thanks to that, we didn't even know about these genius anti-piracy measures in Vice City, because the crackers dealt with them and flushed all of Rockstar Games' work down the toilet. No wonder why they went berserk with their Grand Theft Auto 4 release on PC, which you can't even play properly when cracked wrong. I wonder if these measures are left in Grand Theft Auto 3 or San Andreas. Time will tell. That is all for today's video. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to this channel. There is a Patreon if you want to support the channel even further, but only if you want to do so. This has been SpooferJahk as one of Vadim's various English voices, signing out.